So we're live now. We can go solo
Hare
with the
Krishna.
bhajan. Prabhu is here. Sadi Prabhu. Sarvatma Prabhu is here.
Nadia Gojumani Tananda Mahajan. Nadia Gojumani Tananda Mahajan.
Sadi Prabhu. Sarvatma Prabhu is here.
Katya Chinam Hate Jibera Karan.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace SARVATMA Prabhu, and all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here today. Today is Wednesday, the 25th day of September 2024. And we are very much honored to have His Grace SARVATMA Prabhu speak with us today. So SARVATMA Prabhu, Hare Krishna, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're very much welcome. So Srila Prabhupada has already chanted the Jai Radha Madhava. If you want to chant the Jai Radha Madhava yourself, you may also do that. Otherwise, we'll put the verse on the screen and then you may take it over.
I'll chant a little.
Okay, please. So you may go ahead. Yes.
Upijana Badava Giribara Upijana Badava Giribara Jasudanandana Vajajanarandana Jasudanandana Vajajanarandana Jamna Tiramana Jamna Tiramana Jamuna Tira Banadra Jamuna Tira Banadra Jayura Madhava Ravi Jayura
I don't know if you could hear well. Usually computer audio doesn't translate very well instruments.
It was clear, of course, not as clear as being in person with you, but it was clear enough.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So shall we start?
Yes, please.
So I'll read the verse. Are you gonna share the screen or should I just read it?
Yes, I'm going to share the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dirayet Nasta Prayesha Vadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiki. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 3. Samahuta Bhishmaka Kanyayaye Shriya Savarnena Bubusaya Isham Khandarva Vritya Mishatam Swabhagam Jare Padam Murdni Dadat Suparna. Go ahead, you can scroll. The synonyms: Samahuta invited Bhishmaka of King Bhishmaka, Kanyaya by the daughter, all those, Shriya fortune, Savarnena by a similar sequence, Bubushaya expecting to be so, Esham of them, Gandharva in marrying, Vritya by such a custom, Mishatam carrying so, Swabhagam own share, Chari took away, Padam feet, Murdni on the head, Dadhat place, Suparna, Garuda. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. Purport. Princess Rukmini, excuse me, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, was actually as attractive as fortune itself because she was as valuable as gold, both in color and in value. Since the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the property of the Supreme Lord, Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Krishna. But Shishupal was selected as her bridegroom by Rukmini's elder brother. Although King Bhishmaka wanted his daughter to be married to Krishna, Rukmini invited Krishna to take her away from the clutches of Shishupala. So when the bridegroom, Shishupal, came there with his party with the desire to marry Rukmini, Krishna all of a sudden swept her from the scene, stepping over the heads of all the princes there, just as Garuda carried away nectar from the hands of the demons. This incident will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksuramritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram Vanchakalpataru Shakri Sindhu Patitanam Pavanevio Vaishnavio Namo Namaha. So this is one of these leelas that seem a bit incongruous, in the sense that why is that Bhishmaka, who was the king, and he was inclined to give his daughter to Krishna. Actually, every father thinks their daughter is only the only worthy bridegroom for their daughter is God himself. So here is Bhishmaka thinking that she is so qualified, why should we settle for less? But still, due to political pressure and pressure of friends, because he was a king, but he was not the only king. There were many kings, and the Bhishmaka was the master of Kundina, which is the capital of Vidarbha. But he was friends with Damagosh, who was the lord of Chedi, and Damagosh was the father of Shishupal. And this Shishupal was in very bad association. He wasn't a nice guy himself, and he was in pretty bad association, Jarasandha and company. So they all brought their armies, kind of showing off at the wedding, all emblazed with weapons and jewelry and armors, and they shine they polished all their paraphernalia and show up. And Rukmini was in anxiety. She was in anxiety because she sent a message to Krishna to take her away. And Krishna, I don't know if he waited to the last moment, but he has a bit of that tendency that Krishna wants to increase our love for him. So he puts us in anxiety sometimes. So he put Rukmini in a bit of anxiety. He instructed the best of the Brahmins to go deliver a message to Rukmini. And he showed up, but he showed up much later than anticipated. Rukmini was in great anxiety. She went to the temple of Ambika, that's the name of Durga, to solicit blessings and to pray. She again took the opportunity to pray that please Krishna, send Krishna to take me away from all this. And when she came out of the temple, she was guarded. Princess, especially a princess like her, was protected, very well protected by guards, surrounded by friends and confidants. And she was even holding the hand of one of her assistants. And when she came out, and these warriors that came to the wedding ceremony, and this was not a Swayambara ceremony. Swayambara ceremony is different in the sense that someone comes and needs to qualify, needs to show that is better than the others and can take the hand of a princess. There usually is a task to perform. But this wasn't a Swayambara ceremony. This was a wedding ceremony where Shishupal was a bridegroom, and Shishupal was going to marry Rukmini. And Rukmini was feeling that she was so unfortunate, because she wanted to marry Krishna. She had eyes for no one else. She was so beautiful. she was described as incredibly beautiful. And Prabhupada says in the purport that she was golden in color and in values. And she was so beautiful that when she actually came from a temple and kind of walked in front of all the warriors, they actually fell from their horses, from their elephants, from the chariots. They fell off. They dropped their weapons first. They couldn't even hold weapons. They fell off and went unconscious, all of them. That's how beautiful she was, incomparable. And then in the midst of this, of course, the Brahman came and spoke to Rukmini and said, Krishna is here. Krishna already instructed Daruka, his servant, just get the horses ready and let's go right away. So as they did that, Balaram, thinking, oh, he's gonna mess it here. Krishna's gonna be in trouble because there's a lot of warriors there and they're not gonna like what he's gonna do. So I'm gonna gather my army and I'm gonna gather a small army actually of the Yadus and go there. So he arrived. Of course, King Bhishmaka, he was very proper. So he received everybody, all these demonic kings like Jarasandha and Shishupal, received them well. Shishupal was actually a prince at the time, and gave him a nice place to stay, gave him gifts like gold and grains and new clothes and everything else. This is very customary. Somehow or other, we have lost some of it, even though we know that this is the way to do it. I mean, when someone comes to your home, that person should be given a nice place to sit, should be given water, should be offered prasadam, should be offered even a gift. And if you cannot even do that, then at least sweet words. But we don't do that anymore. Maybe we've never done it, but we should practice to receive a guest. As Krishna is sending a guest to our home, we should receive the guest as an envoy of Krishna himself. And of course, if the visitor is properly educated as well, he will never come empty-handed. We'll always bring some gifts, some flowers for the deities, or fruits to be offered, or some gifts, or at least sweet words. So this is customary. So King Bhishmaka was very familiar with these customs. So he received all the kings, all the princes, all the warriors, everyone. And there was a lot of them. They came with their armies, so I'm sure he had to feed all of them. And everybody was satisfied. And in the middle of this, as Rukmini just moved about with this shy, silent glance that made all the warriors fall out of their particular means of transportation and unconscious to the ground. Krishna came and basically stepped over them and took Rukmini by the hand. And Rukmini was just waiting for that. She had no other business. She wasn't, I don't know what she would have done if she had to go with Shishupal. And somehow took Rukmini, put her on his chariot and drove away. And of course, the warriors did not take this lightly, and they immediately wanted to kill Krishna. And that was people are envious when someone is smarter than you, more beautiful than you, richer than you, more famous than you. I mean, all the different qualities that Krishna has to the superlative degree. Most people, and this is why we are still swimming in the ocean of nations of the material world, becomes envious. And there is a difference between jealous and envious. To be jealous means I would like to have what that person has. So that's one thing. Like, oh, Krishna is so beautiful. I wish I was that beautiful. That's called jealousy. And then envy means I want what that person has, but I don't want that person to have it. That is, envy is jealousy mixed with malice. And Prabhupada actually defined envy as malice. So this is, these warriors, they didn't want what Krishna had. They wanted Rukmini and they wanted Krishna dead. So this is not very polite. This is not very nice. And Krishna, of course, he kind of ignored him. It's just like Garuda ignored the demons, took the nectar of them. In the same way, Krishna ignored him. But Balaram had to step up, elder brother, had to defend the younger brother. It's like at the schoolyard, the little boy who is bullying others and confident because his older brother is nearby to step in and help him at any time. So Krishna, much in that mood, took away Rukmini without caring for the consequences, and Balaram stepped in to help him out. And even though these warriors, they have powerful armies, they could not compete with the Yadus. The Yadus with a small army defeated them right away. They actually started taking special arrows and killing the horses and the elephants and the chariots. They were literally, as described in the 10th canto, they were amputated hands without fingers, heads without torsos, and parts of animals. It was a mess. Immediately, the Yadus, the small army conducted by Balaram, took care of all of them and defeated them. However, Rukmi, the brother of Rukmini or Vaidarbhi, he made a vow: I'm going to get Rukmini back or I won't be coming back. That was his vow in front of his kings and princes. So he took off, and he was so bold. He went by himself. Imagine that. So it's like sending a 3-year-old to fight Mike Tyson. I don't think there will be any chances. So here goes Rukmi against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Guess who's going to win? But he was so oblivious to his insignificance, and we can talk about that he went to defy Krishna. And of course, Krishna immediately, he threw, he shot a bunch of arrows towards Krishna, and to Krishna, because Krishna tends to reciprocate with everyone accordingly. So the arrows may have felt like someone throwing flowers at him, but his arrows, Krishna's arrows, they damaged. He shot 2 arrows at each horse, and even the flag, he threw 3 arrows at the flag of his chariot. And I mean, he immediately and he actually shot his bow. It broke his bow. And then Rukmi took another bow, and Krishna broke that one. I mean, every weapon that he actually tried to gather to fight Krishna, because he caught up with him, Krishna destroyed it. And Rukmi just took his sword out, and it was going towards Krishna. And Krishna just destroyed the sword and took his sword out, and it was going to decapitate him. And Rukmini threw herself at Krishna's feet please don't kill my brother. Please forgive him. Please don't harm him. And somehow or other, Krishna felt the emotional Rukmini's plea and decided not to kill him, but to do something which in one sense is worse. His sword was very sharp, like a barber's blade. And so he shaved part of he kind of gave him a funny haircut. He shaved part of his mustache, and he cut part of his hair. I mean, he messed them up really, really bad. He just cut pieces from different areas of a head. So he looked a mess. And the hair of a warrior is a source of pride. You look good when you go to battle. No, nowadays, like people, just they mess up their heads and they walk around as if everything is okay. So, and he was humiliated, and it is known that for someone who has had honor, dishonor is worse than death. So when Balaram showed up, he was not happy. He said his own sin already killed him. Why do you have to kill him again? Because cutting him like that, we may not understand this kind of mentality that was taking place at the time. For example, Ashvatthama, who was another guy who was not nice, the son of Dronacharya, he killed the sons of the Pandavas, 5 teenage or pre-teenage children of the Pandavas during their sleep, which is inconceivable. If someone will kill kids in their sleep. And what was his punishment? He got a funny haircut. So what kind of punishment is that? That you're a murderer, a quintuple murderer, and you get a funny haircut. There's no prison, no forced labor, no. But did we hear about Ashvatthama after that incident? That his top knot was cut off and he got a funny haircut? No, he was so ashamed. He was so ashamed by this dishonor in him, because the pride that people feel needs to be reciprocated. It's not your pride and that's it. No, when there is pride, there needs to be honor. So he didn't. After you get a funny haircut, you don't get any honor anymore. You've been basically disgraced. Just like you just pump your chest, beat your chest and say, I'm a champion of the world. And then some teenager slaps you a couple of times and sends you crying to the corner. You don't recover from that. So this is what happened to Ashwatthama. We never hear about him yet. He disappeared from the scene. And same with Rukmi. Once, and Balaram starts giving instructions, such as we cannot, sometimes we have to kill our own brothers, and he quotes Lord Brahma as giving some laws that, sometimes we have to kill our own brother, but our relatives cannot be harmed, and, this is a relative, and you just dishonor him, you killed him twice, etc., etc. And Rukmini was all depressed and crying. So Balaram also preached to Rukmini, told her that this is not proper, that get over it, just forget about it. It's done. The things happen because of karma, and you can't avoid it, you can't interrupt it, you can't change it. This is, again, we when we do things for our future, because our present is determined by our past. So whatever we think we are changing in the present, we are not. We are changing our future. So this is more or less the message that Balaram was giving to Rukmini. Said, get over this. Get over it. And so Rukmini basically gave up her depression and understood, okay, that's it. And Rukmini, who was humiliated beyond belief, he said he made a vow that he was going to go back and with her, with Rukmini. And if he didn't, he wasn't going to go back. So he never went back. He actually built a city, can't remember the name, in the place where he was actually given when the Krishna's barber shop took place. So that's the place where he lived for the rest of his life. And of course, when Krishna actually drove from Dwarka all night. And in one night, he went all the way to Vidarbha. And then he took Rukmini, went back. Of course, the residents of Dwarka were so happy to receive her, and they lived happily ever after. And this is for real. I mean, when we say happily ever after, means they at the end they got old, they went to a nursing home and they died, and they didn't know who each other were. But this is Krishna and Rukmini, so they live happily ever after. They're still together. Imagine, just and this is the incident when we see that Krishna could see that there was no one that was fit to be with Rukmini except for him. This was his lila, but some of the characteristics of these lilas is that other people are not aware that is Krishna's lila, so they try to do their own play. So Shishupal tried to advance his own agenda, and it didn't go very well for him. And eventually, Shishupal, because we hear about Shishupal insulting Krishna in the assembly when he was trying to crown Yudhishthir as the best person. Yudhishthir suggested Krishna as the best person. There was a no contest basically, but Shishupal had his own ideas, and he was bitter. He was bitter. He remembered how Krishna stole Rukmini from him, and he thought, that was my bride, and you dare take it away? I'm going to insult you. Of course, when Shishupal was, I don't know if it was when he was born, and this was seen by his mother, by Shishupal's mother, as part of the astrology chart, or because of his behavior as a child, that he was horrible, that she went to ask, and he was already envious of Krishna, but his mother went to ask Krishna for a benediction, and that because she knew that he was going to be trouble. And Krishna said, okay, I let him insult me 100 times. How is that? And his mother said, great. I mean, he's never going to insult you 100 times. But guess what? Shishupal ran out his bill really quick. Went to the assembly and started piling up insult after insult after insult. And the Pandavas were just taking their weapons out and trying to, they were going to kill Shishupal. Nobody likes their friends to be insulted. But Krishna stopped them and said, no, let him. This is a good thing. Because Krishna knew he was actually running up his tab, and eventually he was going to get to 101. And when he did, Krishna just sent the Sudarshan Chakra, and instead of giving him a funny haircut, he actually made a footstool out of his head. So this was Shishupal's punishment after he got away with so much. He did. So we should learn not to be envious. There is no point. There is no reason to be envious of others. People get what they get because of their own actions. It's not like I deserve more and this person deserves less. No, everybody gets what they deserve, exactly what they deserve. So we should not be envious of anyone. We should be kind. Like, for example, in India, they may have, at least in the past, I don't know how things are nowadays, but they will have a mansion, and there are very, very rich people in India, and they have a mansion, and someone, homeless person, and there are many, puts a tarp against the outside wall of the mansion, the gate, and lives there. And the rich person never thinks of, okay, this is a hypothetical one because I'm not sure things are still like that, but a rich person should know better than trying to evict some poor person that puts a tarp against their property. And the poor person living outside of this mansion is not thinking, how can I get in and steal some of the riches of this person? Why? Because they both understand the law of karma, that the reason why one person is rich is because of pious deeds. And the reason why the person is poor is because of impious deeds. So for the poor person to steal will create a similar future where he's going to be poor again. And for the rich person to evict the poor person will create bad karma, which will place him as a homeless person in the next life. So people should learn how to live their life without harming someone else and understanding their karma, understanding their position. So Shishupal did not understand his position. Krishna, of course, he always understands his position. And Rukmini, poor Rukmini, she had to undergo so much anxiety. But this anxiety, when Krishna creates anxiety, is to enhance the love of his devotees and to make them advance spiritually. And when we create anxiety, it has nothing to do with the love of God, because it's because of our deeds, because we act improperly, because we think erroneously. And this is why we have to go up and down in this material world, suffering. And a sage, a person who sees the world as it is through Krishna's eyes, is actually satisfied in any condition, as difficult as it may seem. I was actually considering which were the times in my life as a aspiring devotee that I made the most advancement, and it has always been when I was struggling the most, because I had to make myself strong. Yeah, this life is like a gym, and Maya is our personal trainer who is always there trying to push us to lift more and more and more and more, so we become very strong. So we have to accept Maya. Maya is a pure devotee. She has a thankless task, which is to train the conditioned souls so they give up their nonsense and go back to Godhead. So it's not a very nice job, but she has to do it. Someone has to do it. So we shouldn't resent Maya as an enemy that is coming to disrupt my beautiful little life. We are actually in Maya most of the time, and it's not Maya's choice, it's our choice. So we should not complain that Maya is tricking us. We are choosing to be in Maya, because there is always two choices. There's only one choice, but there's always two choices, Krishna or Maya, and we usually choose Maya, and then we blame Maya for that. How is that possible? It's not her fault, it's our fault. All right. I think I can wind up or wind down. Maybe that's better. And ask if there are any comments or questions. I think I told enough about the kidnapping of Rukmini. If you wanna read more about it, it is in the, I believe, 53rd and 54th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. There is a full description. It's really beautiful, beautiful pastime. All right. Thank you very much for this chance. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's Grace Sarvatma Prabhu. Yes. Very, very beautiful Krishna Katha. This particular pastime has lots of nectar and at the same time lots of questions also. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to ask or share, please. You indicate that by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak or share your realizations. Prabhuji, we understand that Krishna marrying Rukmini is Krishna's pastimes, but I believe that if not all the time, most of the time, Krishna enacts pastimes to teach the loving entities some sort of lesson to try to emulate. So my question is, Rukmi wanted to marry his sister to somebody else that he loved. And Rukmini's father, Bhishmaka, wanted his daughter to be married to another person. So there was like a conflict of interest between the father and the son about who is to marry the daughter and the sister. Now it is said that Krishna kind of stole Rukmini away, and that broke Rukmi's heart. But Rukmini herself also wanted to marry Krishna. So the question is, if family members try to marry their beloved daughter or dear one to another man, but the girl or the daughter is not really interested in that person, is it okay for the lady to disobey the parents or the family's desire and marry whom she chooses to marry? Will that be okay in the eyes of the Vedic culture?
Yeah, I don't know much about the Vedic culture, but I can tell you my 2 paisas worth of opinion. And I think it's a question of taste. It's a question of the personality as well. For example, you may be with Loka, your wife, and she has probably a different taste from yours. So you bought something at the store, a food bar, and you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you want to share it with her, and she thinks it's disgusting. So who is to say who is right? It's a question of taste. So Rukmini had no taste for anybody but Krishna. So should she obey her parents or her father, or the father also? Why was he influenced by his son that should marry Shishupal? Was he thinking of political alliance? What was going on? So, but Rukmini didn't care. Her heart was firmly placed at Krishna's feet. So she didn't want anybody but Krishna. Should she disobey? Yes. In the case of Krishna, yes, she should disobey. She should marry Krishna. If Krishna is the choice, or there is a Krishna conscious choice, we should always go that way. We can see that it's not like a woman should be subservient and always obey whatever, because the man is smarter and knows what she needs, what she wants. Not necessarily so. I know of many women that are way more intelligent than their husbands, way more. And so, and in many cases, we have to analyze each case in particular, and not just throw the word freely, Vedic, this is Vedic and this is not Vedic, because we don't know. We don't know much about the Vedic culture. We know what we read in the Bhagavatam, and sometimes it's anachronistic. It's something you cannot apply for a modern age, and sometimes it is. So as far as forcing a girl to marry some guy because is a better devotee even, can we say, okay, but this is a better devotee. If you marry this other guy, no, but you cannot force someone's heart. So you may create a situation which is going to create misery for decades for someone that you love, and your daughter will hate you for that. So how to solve this is difficult. The world of relationships is a very complicated world. It's full of wires, unmarked. They're all the same color, so you don't know what to cut, what to move. You don't know which one is live. It's a very complicated thing, and everybody has to find their way around it. For example, Srila Prabhupada himself, he was attracted to a particular girl, and his father said, no, you're going to thank me for this. Just marry this other girl. Because, it was a Leela, okay? That's different, but somehow or other, his father knew that Prabhupada was going to be a great preacher. And so he said, if you marry this girl, you will not become a preacher. You will be just trapped in family life, and you won't be able to, expand your horizons. So Prabhupada obeyed his father, and he was successful. So sometimes family members or friends, or even someone who is unrelated, they have a better perspective than you have. So we should consider each case separately and see what we can do, and try not to mess up someone else's life. We should be busy enough messing up our own life that we don't have time to mess up someone else's life. And not say because she's young, or because she's a girl, or because this is all excuses. So each his own.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji, and I really appreciated the answer because especially in the West here, we understand, which is a little bit different from like the ancient India and African culture. Like those cultures, it's like women were always like they did not have rights. But when we study very much about those cultures, the women had rights, except that they were not like demonstrating their rights in public that much. Now, my question, which is like another side to the question I asked, which you beautifully answered, was when Arjun wanted to marry Subhadra, he was very much afraid to go forward trying to win the hands of Subhadra, because he was very much afraid of Balaram. Because Balaram was like the spiritual master to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana was interested in Subhadra. So Arjuna feared that if he made any move forward trying to win Subhadra, Lord Balaram was going to be very unhappy with him and probably deal with him. So he was reluctant. And I remember reading that pastime, and Arjun approached Lord Krishna and told him about it. And Lord Krishna said, if you love her, what do you do? And then he says, I'm scared of Balaram. And Lord Krishna said, if you love her, then go for it. But my question here in this pastime is that Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to go for what his heart desires. But at the same time, too, he knows that there is somebody superior to him who may not be happy with his approach. So comparing that in the lives of we, the conditioned souls, do we hereby say that whatever my heart desires, whatever my heart tells me to do it, I should go ahead and do it as long as I want it? Or we should also put into consideration that this person is much stronger, greater than me. I cannot fight him. I cannot do anything against him. So I'm going to relinquish my heart's desire. It's a bit complex, but if you can help us weave our way out around this complexity.
Well, if you are willing to assume the responsibility, you make your bed, you have to sleep in it. So what are you going to do? I'll give you a little example, recent example. We went to a wedding in the summer, in July, in Spain, of kind of a protege of us, and a very nice devotee girl that he's from Australia, she's from Spain, so they decided to marry in Spain, and they couldn't get the priest that they wanted to officiate, so they got plan B, another priest, but they wanted particularly the bride and the groom and the groom's the bride's parents. They wanted kirtan throughout the ceremony, so they asked me to do the kirtan during the ceremony. Now, before the ceremony began, the priest came to me, this second priest, not the B priest, not the A priest. He was too sick to do it. And he said, in a very rude way, he said, you will sing when I tell you to sing. So I just, I have a kshatriya nature, so I didn't take that too well, but I kind of bit my lip and waited and waited and waited, and 90 minutes of a ceremony went by, and the parents of the groom, the father in particular, is this ritualistic Brahman, and he wanted more mantras and more rituals and more homa, so they went on this very elaborate thing, and there was not the holy name to be heard for 90 minutes. And then I decided, okay, that's enough. So I just started singing, and at that point, not even a truck wouldn't stop me. So it was the desire of a groom, the desire of a bride, the desire of a parents of a bride, but it did not take place. Why? Because of the influence of someone else, who was part of it. So you have to try to balance. It's a difficult equation. You have to exercise a lot of restraint and a lot of patience. So sometimes we are talking about the girl, wants to marry someone else, and you have to, it's difficult to explain if there is a girl in love, is not a very good candidate for philosophy. So what do you do? How do you explain to her, no, this is not convenient because of it? No, but I love him. You know, that's the only thing that you're going to hear from her. And the opposite may be true, that, well, this is more convenient, this is a better candidate, this is going to give you good children, and he has money, so he's going to pay for their education and so on. But she's in love with that devotee who's, you know, a humble, poor Brahmin, and, you know, she's right. So the same attitude, she's wrong, and then she's right. So how do you solve it? How do you solve it? How do you play with human sentiments? Whether it's a girl or a boy or, you know, whatever they are. This is a very difficult thing, and especially because if you're involved, if you're part of the equation, you will have some responsibility. So if you make the wrong decision for your dependents, you have to pay for the consequences of that. If it is the wrong decision, you will get some interest in that sense, that the residual, you know, payment. Like if you decide, well, your daughter should marry this gentleman because she's able to afford a house and care and education for the children, but it's going to create an unhappy marriage for years. You're going to actually receive unhappiness as a reward for your forcing that decision. So I don't know. So what's the solution? In my case, very easy. Don't have kids. That's a very easy solution for me. Just don't have kids, and you will have less problems, less people to deal with. But on the other hand, it's not like I don't like kids. Well, I like to return them in the evening. It's very difficult when they're your own. And I usually don't get anything without a receipt or a good return policy. So, you know, kids never fit into that category. I was once in a yoga farm, impersonalist people, and we went to do some kirtan there. And I can't remember what I was doing I was in the kitchen. I think I was reading a book, and there were several women from the ashram, that they were preparing, you know, cutting vegetables and preparing something like that. And there were a bunch of kids that were making a lot of noise for no reason and throwing stuff around. And the women were completely oblivious, ignoring what was going on. So I gathered the kids and I told them, this is not the place to do it. Find somewhere outdoors where you can express yourself. Just don't do it in the kitchen. For all practical purpose, I could have told them, you know, if you continue with this, I'm going to break your knees, all of you. So I didn't say that, but that's basically what I meant. And the kids immediately pay attention because, you know, I was talking to them as adults. I said, you know, you understand what I'm saying. This is not the place. So find yourself a place. So the kids left. And then all these women turned to me with dog eyes saying, oh, you would make such a nice father. You know, I was a brahmachari at the time. I said, yes, that's the reason I don't want my own kids. I want to take care of all kids, not just a couple because they're blood. I'm going to take care of them. I want to take care of all kids. And the fact is, my wife and I always have been nurturing young people. And regardless of who they don't have to be our blood. So again, responsibility means you take care of everybody, not just your blood. But the problem is when it is your own blood, you will have to, your opinion really counts. It's not like, you know, yes, daddy, I will consider what you say. No, it's just, you do what I say. And then you will have to pay the consequences. And you're not always sure that you're going to make the right decision. So I will pray, you know, praying that you're making the right decision. And sometimes The father is right, sometimes the father is wrong, sometimes the daughter is right, sometimes the daughter is wrong. You have to figure out which one is which and work together and try to live a good life. Because if you make the wrong decision, even though you love your daughter, she will hate you for that. And that's the last thing you want. Your own children, rejecting you because you made the wrong decision, even though your intentions were good.
Well, Willie, thank you so much for the answer. I'm laughing because I'm relating your answer to an incident that I witnessed. But dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to ask or express yourself, please, you may do so by raising your hand or your physical or emoji hand, I should say. Hare Krishna. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada states that Rukmini herself wanted Krishna to take her away from that relationship that she was put into to have with Shishupal. So I'm wondering, was Shishupal and Rukmini already considered as married couples, or were they engaged, or did they have any formal relationship? And then Krishna snatched her away, or there wasn't any formal relationship? But I just want to know, because Krishna, like you were saying, that the full pastime is shared in Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam. I think Srila Prabhupada expresses this in the Krishna book also, where Krishna was, when Rukmi attacked Krishna for stealing away his sister, Krishna asked Rukmi, who rode the chariot? Krishna says, I didn't ride the chariot. It was your sister who rode the chariot. And if I stole her, I would be riding the chariot. That was Krishna's defense. But I just want to know whether Rukmini and Shishupal were together as couples, or there was just a proposal from the father that we want to give our daughter, from the parents, that we want to give our loved one to Shishupal.
One thing I can tell you about Vedic times, that there were no date apps. There were not
No dating.
no dating. That didn't happen. This is a modern invention. You take the product home, and if you don't like it after 30 days, you get your full money back. This is not how things work.
Okay.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur was 12 when he got married, and his wife was 5. So this was, how do you marry a 5-year-old? But the fact is that this was a decision. They decided, okay, you're married this girl, you're married this man, that's it. And when you're of age, you can live together. So it was a decision. It was no dating, no relationship. I'm sure they didn't talk to each other ever.
Yeah.
I remember, even when I was a kid, I remember having a girlfriend. I actually asked her when I was very young. I said, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she said yes. And I never talked to her again. I didn't know all the rituals that follow that. That basically this is children's stuff. So yes, it's been decided, okay, you're married this man, but you're not gonna be together until the actual marriage. So no, there was not that. So this is to basically pacify, to settle, because we have a tendency, humans, both men and women, that unless we commit ourselves in a relationship, our mind is very flickering and you just want to enjoy other people of the opposite sex, usually the opposite sex. So what happened there? It's just basically, it's a commitment. Okay, you don't have to keep looking. You're committed to marry this person. But Rukmini never placed for one moment, didn't place her consciousness into, okay, I'm married to Shishupal. I should be loyal. I should be faithful. I should be thinking of him. I try to find out what he likes, what he's like, etc. Not at all. She was thinking of Krishna all the time. And her heart was already given away.
Thank you so much for reminding me there were no dating apps in those days. Because I was thinking in that line that, like, so this is my fiancé, we are dating. But actually, what you just described used to be our culture in Africa also, where a man, a young boy, maybe 7, 8, 10 years old, will be married to a young girl, like maybe 4 or 5 years. And they never get to see each other until they become of age. But the family understands and knows that they are married, and they guard and guide both the future groom and future bride. And once they become of age, they marry. That used to be the system, but the so-called modern culture has killed, or actually seriously killing this tradition, which is quite unfortunate. But thank you for reminding me of that culture, because we used to have that in Africa very much.
I have a couple of friends from New Vrindavan that they met when they got married. They literally met then, and then immediately after the sacrifice, the marriage, she got in a van with girls and he got in a van with boys, and they went in different directions to do something. That was their honeymoon.
Oh, Krishna.
They didn't have time to memorize each other's name.
Well, Govinda Prabhu, please you may unmute and go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. My respectful obeisances to you, my obeisances to the devotees. Your last comment is actually the question I was going to ask. These days, the devotees do a lot of search before they get into marriage. They try to see the couple's compatibility. And also they find a qualified Brahmin or a priest to officiate the marriage. But what we are seeing these days is that as soon as these couples get married, sometimes they stay for a while, sometimes a couple of months, and they find their way. The divorce take place. So what is going on? Is it because they find that this is they are compatible? The stars meet together. They can live together harmoniously. Everything will be fine. The priest will confirm all that, and they get married. And what happened if they actually they march and the priest has officiate the marriage with all mantras and invoke the demigods to come and get their blessings and everything, and they still get divorced? So what is the problem? What is the cause of that?
Okay, you're asking a generic question. It's not about a particular couple, or maybe this happened to you.
Yeah, it's a general question.
Okay. And Did you use the word sex in the beginning of your question?
No,
Okay,
I
I
said,
understood.
uh,
You said they have a lot of sex.
no. I said they are compatible. They are
Okay.
they have the astrologers who check their compatibility
Yeah.
Okay.
and confirm that they can live together. The stars agree
You
that they
know,
can stay together.
yeah, but the stars don't live with them. Yeah, you have to live.
Actually, he
You have to
said they
live
made
with
a
them.
lot of research. Lot of research.
I'm
The
sorry.
people
Huh?
made a lot of research. Research, not sex. Research.
I was saying
Oh,
research.
okay.
They
Okay.
do a lot of research, a lot of research, and come out
Okay.
that these people can live together.
Oh, okay. That's a word that I didn't get. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying. Well, this again, if you can, my wife did a chart of compatibility before, but she did it after we were married, so she was a little late on that one. And it showed 19 points out of 25, which you may say, well, that's pretty good. No, actually, that's not very good. That's not enough. But we're still married after 26 years. So, yeah, the stars know, but you never know until you do it. So sometimes we place too much emphasis. By the way, Prabhupada never wanted astrology to be introduced into ISKCON as a rule. Like, yes, you may get the blessings of a Brahman, and you may get all the mantras right, but still it may come out wrong. So the only thing that works is to be mature in Krishna consciousness. Everything else may fall by the side. You have to make progress and always keep the goal, the spiritual vision, fully awake, because you may like this person now, but you may not like them later. You may like something in particular, like when you were a kid, you liked some particular food, but you now you're thinking, how in the world I was eating that. Like when I was a kid, I will eat this horrible candies, that they're just huge sugar and they taste like preservatives, and it's just horrible stuff. And I can't think of why would I like such a thing? Your taste will change. So your taste, as you grow older, your taste will change. Well, I think we should be a bit intelligent in the sense of, okay, this is for my own good, and this is for the good of others, not what feels right. If we guide ourselves by our senses, by our feelings, by our mind, the mind changes constantly. We're not going to get very, very far. So when you take a vow, you should know what you're doing. And a marriage is a vow. It's not much different from any other vow. Like I remember I got initiated after 5 months of being in the movement. In retrospect, it should have been 10 years or 15 years. Because when I said, yes, I promise, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was going to do next week. I was too young to be mature enough to understand, yes, I can stick to this. After practicing something, in particular Krishna consciousness, for 10 or 15 years, if they ask me, would you be able to follow the principles and chant 16 rounds for the rest of your life? After 15 years, I will say, oh, well, I have a pretty good idea that I may be able to. I'm not sure, but I have a pretty good idea. But 5 months after I started chanting Hare Krishna, no, I didn't know. I still promise. And I stuck to it. So somehow or other, it depends on the maturity of the individual. So even if you have the right priest, the right date, the right time, the right fire, the right banana to throw in the fire, you know, you don't know. You don't know. Even if you throw an organic banana grown by devotee, you know, the fire has been done with ahimsa ghee, you know, and neem wood. Still, you may get you know, you may get the wrong partner after all that.
Well,
Prabhu, thank you for your answer. Thank you for your answer. You know, but I still think that you know, nature never lies, and the stars never lies. So the prediction is a prediction. So reading the astrology is also like a prediction. Whatever your karma may be, that is be the aura around you, and that will attract a particular star to move with you. Fire never agree with water. Once both of them come together, there will be a problem. But fire and fire, they can stay together. And so we're talking of the elements. The elements always comes in play. And so if you know everything is set all right, the mantras are chanted correctly, good fruits, everything is perfect, and we cannot say that is guaranteed, then what advice will you give us to our devotees, astrologers who are going around making predictions and reading stars and doing the compatibilities and taking people's money and all that? What do we say about this to our
Well,
devotees?
the circumstances. It'd be nice if all the circumstances are correct. If you choose the right date, if the stars are good on that date, is a particular time, and then the priest is a pure Brahman, and all the
MT.
elements are there, is a good environment, you see, but doesn't guarantee the final product. Just like if you have a friend and you take him to the gym with you and you give him a brand new pair of swimming trunks that fits him perfectly, and you give him a Egyptian cotton towel that for the shower later on, an organic shampoo so he can wash his hair after the pool, and you take him to the pool, you can't guarantee that the guy is going to jump in the pool and swim. Or maybe if he jumps in this, you discover he can't swim. So what do? You have two people that they come from completely different, even if they coincide that they are compatible, they're in a completely different direction. They have a completely different background. One has been in the material world for millions of years. The other has been for like a few lifetimes, came to just finish business because he made a smaller mistake, and you put them together. What will happen to that? Even if it's everything else is auspicious, it won't work. Even if it seems like, okay, it should work, but it doesn't work. It's just like, it's like an IKEA furniture. You get a bookshelf from IKEA, and they give you directions. They're written not very explicitly by Chinese people who make the furniture, and you have all the tools, and you have a screwdriver, and you have this and that. And when you put it's supposed to be a bookshelf, but when you put it together following the instructions, it doesn't stand. It leans to one side. You can't even put a flower pot on it; it will collapse. So what went wrong? I mean, you follow the directions to the letter, but something went wrong in the process. So you can never guarantee that, even though the circumstances may be right, everything may be, auspicious, just to use that word a little loosely. And then you get Mr. A and Mrs. B to be together, and within 5 minutes, there's a spark that blows up the whole thing. And they cannot, first, the man loves the way she, she sighs, and she jokes, he jokes, and she laughs at everything he says, and and he thinks she's cute. And after a few months or years or even days, he just can't stand the way she breathes, or the fact that she breathes, and she can't, the guy cannot tell a joke that sounds funny to him. And she got tired of cooking for him, and he doesn't appreciate what she does, and etc. It can turn into a storm in a cup of water, because ultimately they're two individuals, and the only way to get along is to love Krishna and to see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. You cannot see anything else as separate, because if you see anything separate, you're an illusion. There's nothing separate from Krishna. So if you love Krishna, you will love everybody else. So this is the solution that I find for lack of compatibility, or poor stars, or a rough beginning, or that we see things differently, or whatever it is, whatever the problem may be, is that they both have to love Krishna. And if you love Krishna, you love everything about Krishna and everybody that is within Krishna, which is everyone. And you try, the goal is the same. Is to we forget the goal is to please ourselves. The goal is to please Krishna. So if Krishna is pleased by me making this particular vow, even though this vow doesn't seem like convenient or pleasurable, it's like a vow we made about chanting japa. I was talking to a Swami friend of mine about how I see that a lot of our devotees don't keep their vows. They don't chant their japa. They don't take it as a meditation. It's kind of like a thing I need to do. And then eventually I don't feel like doing it. But it's always, the goal is to please Krishna. And Krishna is pleased by our vows, by our chanting. I don't know how, but Krishna is pleased by that. Why would Krishna be pleased by me chanting his name? Because it's good for me. That's why. Because he loves me and he wants me to love him. And by chanting, I will develop that. That's why he likes it. Not because of a particular quality of my chanting, I assure you. So let's not depend solely on what's auspicious. Let's depend on what's our intention, and is Krishna going to be pleased by me doing this? You just take a task that is too big for you, but you take it for the sake of Krishna. Just like when Shivananda, Prabhupada's disciple, he was 18 years old. What does an 18-year-old know? Well, according to them, they know everything. But according to everybody else, they don't know anything. 18-year-old. And Prabhupada said, go to Germany and open an ISKCON center in Germany. He didn't know, he didn't have a passport. He didn't know how to get a passport. He's never been out of the country. He didn't speak German. He'd never rented a house or owned anything in his life. 18-year-old, after a year in the movement, Prabhupada tells him, move to a foreign country and open a branch of Krishna consciousness there. And if this will please you, that will please Krishna. I will do it. So we have to bring back that mentality. What will please Krishna? We had it at one time. We kind of forgot it by the side and got too involved with what I like. But we have to bring it back. Is my taking care of this person gonna please Krishna? Yes. Is my giving up this person gonna please Krishna? We'll see. Could be either way. Like it maybe you're doing a particular service, and this service is not conducive. You're not being appreciated in your service. Other people don't think you should be doing this service, but you made a promise that you're gonna stick to it. Your promise to whom? To Krishna or to yourself? So now you have too much pride maybe to give up that service. Nobody wants you to do this service, including Krishna. It's harmful, it's toxic, it's poisonous, even for you and for others. So sometimes you take up a service, sometimes you give up a service. It depends on what's pleasing to Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for these beautiful answers. Very elaborate answers that we all can relate to. This last part of the answer you gave to Govinda Prabhu's beautiful question, we actually have one devotee with us at the moment, and I'm fortunate to say he's my big god brother and my mentor. And from time to time, he reminds us that we should not kill this Panyaran spirit, because most of us as devotees have knowingly or unknowingly killed the Panyaran spirit of Krishna consciousness, like how Srila Prabhupada asked Shivananda Prabhu to go to Germany at such a very tender age, foreign land, foreign language, but he did it, since that was going to please his guru. And this devotee, I'm talking about my godbrother, my mentor, he speaks English, but for the sake of preaching, he moved to a different country where they speak different language, French. And as we speak now, sometimes when I speak with him, I tell him, you now speak like a French person, because even when you speak in English, you speak like French. Now he speaks French so fluently, writes French so fluently, and he's even translating lots of Srila Prabhupada's books into the local dialects, which is amazing. But this Panyaran spirit, I do not know how we're going to try to rekindle that spirit in us, but we don't have to kill it. It's a necessity. And I was also, I recollected something I read from the Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, where Bob Cohen, Brahma Tirtha Prabhu, was asking Srila Prabhupada questions. So Prabhuji was asking Srila Prabhupada questions about devotees wearing dhoti and putting on tilak. And Srila Prabhupada said in that question that there are two things. There are things that are helpful and things that are important. That putting on a dhoti and tilak, they are helpful, but they are not important to our devotional life. So I think in the same way, I'm just thinking, so Prabhuji, correct me after I'm done. I'm also thinking that all these astrological readings of these couple are compatible, they are not compatible, they are helpful, but the most important thing is the Krishna factor, because if there is no Krishna factor, which is the most important thing, then these similar compatibilities may not end as well. What do you think about that, Prabhuji?
I think you give a good example, and yeah, these things like the externals, how does that help? Like for example, I'm wearing pants. So do you think my talk would have been a lot more devotional or eloquent if I didn't wear any seams on my clothing? would have
I
made
don't
it.
think so.
Yeah, would not have made any difference. So
I
it's
don't think so. Yeah.
this is not essential items that you can choose yes or no, at will. But I think some of our illustrious colleagues get, excuse me, get caught up with details. Details are not basic fundamental principles and will never be. So yes, this it may be an important detail if you really want to know. Like for example, like to know, okay, is this an auspicious date to hold a wedding, or is this is this mantra chanting, the pronunciation is correctly? But it's not as important as seeing if these two people actually love, respect each other, and try to become Krishna conscious. And it's like waking up in the middle of the night. How important it is to look at what time it is. All you need to do is try to go back to sleep. That's, it doesn't matter if it is, 10 minutes after you went to sleep, or is 6 hours later, 3 hours later, it doesn't matter. It's a detail. Right. The important thing is that tomorrow you have stuff to do, you better go back to sleep. It doesn't matter what time it is. It's just to satisfy your curiosity. So details will never amount to more than that. They're details. Sometimes details enhance the beauty of something, like details when making a turban for Radha Damodar. Okay, that may be important. But Govinda Prabhu is crazy there around there. Tell us, Prabhu, what's your latest?
Yeah, Prabhu, I'm still on the same point of discussion. What you just said is really heavy. The details. One has to be Krishna conscious. Otherwise, everything there is just external. Of course, Krishna conscious is spiritual, and anything spiritual stay forever. The marriage may be temporary, but love between the couples is that is the real factor in marriage. I did not do astrology or marriage compatibility, but I and my wife, we are still living, and we've married for over 30 years, and we are so very good to each other. But my problem is that not all people will read their astrological chart and marriage compatibility are devotees. Of course, we may say that, Christians and Muslims or whoever, they also serving the same God. But from your explanation, what I'm deducting here is that of the quality of the two personalities coming together, how they display good qualities, love and affection, friendliness to each other, understanding. That keeps the marriage. It's not the chart, it's not the reading. And if that is the case, then why do we have to worry people? Why do we have to disturb people? Because, I may read both of, your star and tell you that, no, you are not compatible. You are not compatible. Maybe if I do not read them and they have stayed together because they have good qualities in them, they may marry to the end. So if that is the case, then what is the actual use of this reading of compatibility? Because we may destroy somebody's relationship. Meanwhile, that marriage could have stayed forever. So what is the point of this reading of compatibility?
There is some people find it interesting or useful, maybe, for their relationship. They need kind of an assurance, like if I'm going to buy a shirt, I may ask someone, what do you think? I already have an opinion, but I'm asked, what do you think? And they may find out something that I can't see. Oh, well, it makes you look fatter, or, it's not your color, or this is made wrong. One sleeve is longer than the other one, or et cetera, et cetera. So compatibility to see if I think the most important thing is friendship. Like I was asked, I was given a lecture, or not a lecture, it was like a question and answer seminar in Lithuania not long ago. And they asked me, you've been in Krishna consciousness or in the movement for a very long time. What's the secret? And I said, my friends. That's my answer. My friends keep me Krishna conscious. I try to associate with people that are useful to my Krishna consciousness. So, and marriage, just like in any other relationship, the idea is also there. I was friends with my wife for 10 years before we got married. 10 years. Of course, we're not friends anymore, but that's irrelevant. I'm kidding. We're still friends.
You are forever friends.
So you have to be friends. Like once one person went to Hridayananda Maharaj for advice on, I'm thinking of marrying this person. What do you think? And he answered with a question. He said, if this person that you want to marry was of the same sex that you are, would you be friends? And if the answer is no, then the next answer is no. You have to be friends with someone. You cannot live with someone who's not a friend. You cannot spend much time with someone who's not a friend. What to speak of spending the rest of your life? So husband and wife need to be friends first. And through God, not just before and then, okay, now we are married, now we don't have to be friends anymore. No, it has to be maintained. I think that's, at least for myself, is a fair answer. Your friends keep you Krishna conscious. Your friendship in marriage keeps you married, etc., etc. Everything else follows.
All right. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
You probably may have to consider to be a counselor, Prabhuji.
That's like having kids. No thanks.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the love and the time and the patience with us. You've been with us for almost 2 hours. We truly appreciate. I hope to see you in person this coming Sunday.
You will.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk to you and to hear from you. And I find it very stimulating, and I hope I didn't make a bigger mess than what it was.
Oh, no, Prabhuji. No, not at all. Our dearest gratitude to your better half, Her Grace Divya Devi Mataji. It is said behind every great man is the lady. So is the lady who is helping. Helping. In fact, I just heard something from His Grace Mahatma Prabhu just last night. I was listening to one of his lectures. He was actually answering questions. And he said something, Srila Prabhupada said, which is very profound, that we may not be able to digest it all or even get into it in details now because it's almost over. The class is almost over. But Prabhuji was sharing that Srila Prabhupada said, if a wife has more devotion to Krishna than the husband, then most likely the relationship might not last. The husband should have more devotion to Krishna than the wife. And so it becomes a challenge because most of the time the women have more devotion to Krishna. So it becomes a challenge to the men to try to have more devotion to Krishna because the man is supposed to guide and the lady is also supposed to help the man. And if the helper is now actually the main person, then it becomes a problem. I mean, there is a detailed message that Srila Prabhupada shared in that advice he gave to the disciples. But it's an encouragement for devotees to try to develop more devotion to Krishna because with the devotion, then we're likely going to have Krishna, since that is the only way to attain him. And
Is there a
nothing else.
Shastric reference to accompany that statement you just made?
No, he said it was a statement Srila Prabhupada made a couple times to his disciples, like encouraging the men to be more devotional.
Well, I will
than
take
the-
I will take it not as an absolute statement. I will say Prabhupada used the word may.
Yeah, may.
So
Yes.
may means perhaps, perhaps not.
Not absolute, yes.
So I will say yes, like the fact that some statements are not absolute, and what is taken as absolute is a mistake. That's not a perhaps. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
So yes, but what happens in the case that no matter how much devotion the husband have, the wife is more advanced.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? You reject her even though she's more advanced? No. So this is let's be very cautious and very careful to bring statements that are not backed by philosophical shastra, which is our main means of reference, and then guru and sadhu. So if that is not good for all times on all people, then it's not an absolute statement. So
Yeah.
let's just take cases individually. We are individual personalities and we all dance to different music. So we have to just bring the volume up on a song that we don't dance to is not good enough.
Yeah. Well, probably I don't think you could be truer than what you just expressed. Because, like I said, I just heard it yesterday, and Prabhuji shared. Of course, it's coming from Srila Prabhupada, so we accept it. But like you're saying, it probably shouldn't be taken as an absolute because who you are is who you are. And if I happen to marry to, let's say my wife, I don't know the reality of my wife. And if my wife has more devotion than me, then what happens? But from what I understood, it was like a way of Srila Prabhupada encouraging the men to become more devotional themselves also.
Yeah.
But
It's easy to be.
it should not be taken as an absolute.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, do you have any concluding words before we bring this to a final close? And the devotees, does anyone have something to share before we bring this to a final close today?
Govinda Prabhu, your hand is still up.
No, I'll take his hand down. That was from the previous hand raise.
Okay.
Yeah. Prabhuji, maybe you may conclude with some final words.
We may be so lucky as to be like Rukmini, that no matter what came her way, and her way was a storm. If she was to be married to Shishupal, her life would have been hell. But no matter what hell or high water come in our direction, we may be fixed with our mind at Krishna's lotus feet and may not be taken away by any circumstance or any changes. We need to be loyal, and we need to be sincere. And Krishna is always working on our case, even though we are insignificant. We have to actually be loyal and faithful. That Krishna is doing the best for us. We should do the best for him. There is a little message here from
Jagannath Pandit.
Jagannath Pandit. The cardinal principle of Grihastha Ashram is that no one may be the owner of any property of service or service of another. Everyone is only a servant whose activities are ever in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the sole object of everyone's service as the only master, only friend, only son, and only consort is Krishna. Marrying and giving in marriage do not give rise to any rights of a master, either to the husband or to the wife. Men and women are joined in wedlock for the purpose of serving each other in the performance of the joint service of Krishna. The wife is not an object of enjoyment, or the husband, nor vice versa. They do not marry for gratifying their sexual appetites. They marry for pleasing the Lord, not for pleasing themselves. They choose for their partners only such persons who serve God better than themselves. They offer themselves to be accepted by their partners for the favor of being allowed to share in their superior service of Hari. Neither the husband nor the wife should claim the services of H.
I think the last word got cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, when my wife got diagnosed with cancer, I thought, okay, my service has to change. I'm actually going to be her caretaker now. And I took it as okay, let's finish the sentence first. The household duty by all members of the household. The reason why the Guru does not ordinarily ask any person to enter the state of wedlock is that it is very rare to find anyone in this world who is willing to regard his or her wife or husband as worthy of his or her unconditional services. This is, however, exactly the only relationship between husband and wife that alone can be sanctioned by the Guru. Are you quoting Jagannath Pandit from someone else? Okay, because I was gonna talk
It
about.
looks like it's it says Gol Kishore Das Babaji.
Look at that. Well, when my wife got diagnosed by cancer, I thought I need to change my service. I'm gonna be her caretaker. She's a pure advanced devotee, and her service will be my service. To service her will be my service. And I thought it may not fly because that's not my nature. Mostly we like to be served. We don't like to serve. And especially is someone that you know, or someone that is in paper supposed to be your subservient. But I did that, and I was feeling great bliss in performing that service. Great bliss. And why? Because I stopped thinking I'm better than her. She should be serving me. I thought, no, she's a better devotee. I should serve her. And that will be benefited. Just like when you serve advanced devotees, you get the benefit of the service. So we should consider actually not just for false humility or to be recognized. We should feel I'm not very advanced. We should see, you know, everybody else is advanced. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to think, you know, everybody's more advanced than me. Everybody's serving Krishna except for myself. I mean, if he thought like that, what hope is there for us to think, oh no, I'm an advanced devotee. I know what I'm doing. We are actually very, very, very insignificant. And that should be our pleasure, to be insignificant. That should be part of our pleasure. Insignificance is good. It's actually good because it's who we are. Anything else is some inflated notion of ourselves, which has nothing to do with reality. We are not anything. Kiva vipra kiva nyasis sudra kenenoi. Ye Krishna tattva veda. Say Guru hoy. We are servants of Krishna and servant of the Guru and servant of everybody else. Whereas it takes us a while to recognize it, that's the truth. That's who we are. All right, so those are my concluding words. Prabhu, again, I appreciate your taking the time to listening to this old fogey guy who doesn't know what he's doing or saying, and hope that don't take it too seriously, or take it seriously as you wish. And thank you for the invite, and I hope you invite me again.
Jai! Hare Krishna. Hare 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 Bo. Prabhuji, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And of course, we usually go back to listen to our recordings because we have a very porous mind these days. So we hear something and it passes through the other ear and falls out of our heads. So we try to go back to listen to the Katha again. And definitely, I'm sure devotees will go back to listen because there are lots of important lessons you've shared with us today that definitely will help our devotion. So with that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Sarvatma Prabhu. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa tarabhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to His Grace Sarvatma Prabhu ki jai. All glories to Jagat Guru Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to Samal Vaishnava devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, SARVATMA. Thank you, Hare Krishna.